This meeting is being recorded.
Today, I was looking back onto my beginning farmer video from 8 seasons ago, where I applied for Beginning Farmer of the Year with a group that was really driving the local food supply chain in Illinois and across all of the Midwest. And it was so telling and really quite thrilling to see the face of that younger me and to know what I had started on the farm by myself with 6 customers my first season, growing to about 13 families the second season, and then doubling the next season for my CSA has come to pass. And it's a reality. The effort of teaching myself how to grow organic food and surrounding myself by mentors who were already doing it. Mentors now have become incredible friends. Is the very difference that it made for me to pursue farming in an area where we are not exactly welcome, because many conventional farmers doing corn and soybeans conventionally feel like organic means there's no room for their crop. So I wanted to hop on and just express that there is room for everyone. There is so much demand for fresh food in Illinois right now that there simply would not be enough farmers in Illinois to grow everything that the chefs and hospitals and organizations that are being called to do better would ask for. So understand that in these small acreages, and in my case and how we teach here at Grateful Plains as our teaching farm, where I mentor beginning farmers, I mentor socially disadvantaged beginning farmers, and at Home Sanctuary, where we've formed a 501c3 in order to facilitate post-trauma intervention in the fields and having conversations and support circles and peer-to-peer conversations for advancing and enhancing quality of life, that it's working. It's working to make room for everyone, to teach people their strengths, to go to the soil and work with what you have and grow larger amounts, scaling up to supply 20 pounds or 50 pounds or 100 pounds of food each week, to the tune of conglomerating together and delivering thousands of pounds. Up to 40,000 pounds of food a week is what we will see in these coming months. And it is so exciting to have been on this journey for the past decade with my cohorts. And what is really exciting here in LaSalle County, Illinois, USA, is there is a blank slate. We're just gathering together. We are finding a way to communicate and piggyback on what is already working down in Livingston County and Fairbury, Illinois, and witnessing our friends and mentors and 125 farms that are networking together, called Down at the Farms. It is such a special time to be a food farmer. And I would invite that if you have ever been interested in even just growing a single crop that you're really good at, that you love growing and does really well in your yard, and if you can take a commitment, if you can take a pledge and make the commitment to non-GMO seeds, no synthetic chemicals, and practice regenerative methods so your farm is better than how you found it year to year after year after year, then you're a fit for becoming a producer with us. So as I come to you as a farmer today, I wanted to give you a little bit of insight for what it took for me to keep at it, because it has been a bit of a rough road. But the good news is for you, the groundwork has already been laid. The foundation is here. The amplification of what works is available to us in this particular region. And by joining and becoming a farmer of vegetables and fruits that are raised on a regenerative farm, your farm or somebody else's farm, we do have ways to get you on other land, then you're contributing to a legacy project that will literally change the health and well-being of the entire Midwest region. If you're from other parts of the country, you've probably experienced some of this already. Farming is very different region to region. So what I'm about to describe to you is Illinois. And I was a case where I tilled up sod one day and planted it 3 days later, and I put some seeds in the ground. We have black gold soil here. I had plenty of water because I was pumping water out of a dilapidated in-ground pool that was loaded with frogs and seaweed, and it was just wonderful biology to go on to my ground, that and rainwater. And I did pretty well my first season. I was only growing for myself. I was growing so that I could learn about proteins in plants and help my situation. And that's a different video about why I began farming. But the what of the farming, it took me being out with other farmers, mentors who showed me their methods, showed me what was working, showed me what seeds to choose, showed me what was selling, showed me the organic amendments for the soil. And that is like a speed. You just save so much time by having that in your pocket. And that is what we have grown here, as a trusted network of cooperating farms that are growing together toward the advancement of delivering food. And it didn't exist in this way when I began. But over the years, a lot of groups have come and gone, and a lot of groups have supported in the times that they could with the conditions that were happening. Right now is a prime time to get involved, because the powers to be are realizing that hospitals and schools and other institutions should be required to provide food that is nutritious. And it's a way of not enforcing the elimination of poison in the food, which is a lot of what is happening with the commercial food flow here in the United States, because we allow a lot of particles and food stuff to get through that really is possibly the culprit of a lot of the conditions and behaviors that are happening within those systems and organizations. That is one reason to get involved. The second greatest reason to get involved is because of the uncertainty in this economy. It is an opportune time to bring the energy of independence and a localized food system where you have access as a consumer to buy direct from a farmer and really pay almost the same prices as a grocery store. Because I think we all know that those grocery store prices are only going to keep going up. We witnessed this a few years back, where certain things weren't even available on the shelf when things happen, like shutdowns in transportation or shutdowns in being able to gather publicly. Farmers will find a way, and we do. In fact, that is exactly when down at the farms gain momentum, because we could go into the places where consumers had a need when the larger conglomerates could not deliver food. They could not sustain the shutdown when suddenly the entire workforce was not allowed to come to work, or transportation routes were down, or thousands of other reasons. Because when you're a large animal like that, it takes so much interconnectedness. And in this case, there's very concentrated interconnectedness. In one day, I scanned my field for what's available. The next day, chefs hear what is available from me and 124 other farmers. Within 2 days, we understand and have orders for everything that the chefs want to bring to them the day after that. We pick in the morning. Sometimes we can pick a day or two earlier if you are a blessed enough farm to have cooling and proper refrigeration and storage. And then we package it, label it well, follow good agriculture practices. We follow a group practice of the chefs and consumers knowing where they're getting their food, knowing the date we picked it, and knowing exactly what they're getting and what they ordered for the same price that they paid last month and the month before that and the month before that and the month before that. I had a very interesting situation where we had some deliveries for groceries early last year as we were trialing this food co-op and doing some of the announcement along the way. And a person came in and wanted to know the price. And when they came in the following week, the same crop was twice the size, and so it was twice the price. And that felt to them like a price increase. And it wasn't, because it was per pound, but the way it was on the board made it seem like it was a double price than the week before. And rather than argue about it, I just put my hand on that person's hand and I said, "How much are green beans at the grocery store?" Which of course they weren't sure. And I said, "How much are grocery stores going to charge for green beans next week or the week after that?" Because in those settings, prices fluctuate dramatically. Because again, they are having to factor in a national network, and in some cases, corporate units within their own organization, in order to change and shift and ebb and flow and grow and thrive, right? But we don't get to do that. We have no need to do that, because we know the price. We know the price, we know what it costs to get it there, and we have the same price for the food for the entire season. So a chef knows exactly what they're going to spend on their food for the entire year if they're good enough to know what their menu is and to shop seasonally. The second issue that I had as a farmer that this setup really helped me with is it was very difficult to give up my weekends to be at markets. And even today, it is really a sacrifice for us to harvest very early, package, get everything ready, label it, and go to a market where we might not get enough traffic to even pay for our help for the morning. It costs us about $500 to pay for help and sit and wait and be there for the hours where people are looking to earn wages, and clean up, pick up, put everything away, get everything marked again, store what is left, process what is left that can't be stored. It is quite an endeavor to work direct with farmers markets. And so it usually works really well for growers that are in well-populated or consumer-driven farmers markets where people just can't wait to come and spend their money, and they're there to shop for the whole week. to get as much food as they can in their refrigerators from farmers. And unfortunately, we do not live in a community like that. In fact, the education of our consumers is hugely lacking, and it is one aspect that we hope to address through Om Sanctuary, which is a lot of why we formed a nonprofit to be the umbrella as we organize this next step for farmers in our area. Because the consumers and the businesses that can support farmers to consumers are interested in understanding some facts and figures, and they're just not readily available for farmers. Which brings me to the third issue that I had when I began farming. I had no information. I had no real support at agencies because they didn't understand the return of investment for 1 acre of carrots, which I can tell you now could be up to $13,000. We have a direct case scenario where one young person, that's all they did. They just grew carrots all year long, less than 2 acres of land. And that was his profit for the year. So I don't know too many corn and soybean farmers who profit 13,000 an acre, although I suppose it's possible. I just don't know of any. I don't know very many though. So to have a system that goes direct to chefs where somebody else is doing my marketing, that is one huge benefit of working in this way with a food hub, is saves me so much time and stress. I will say that harvest day and labeling and getting our food there on time, it is a very intense day, but it is a welcome stress because I know the end result. I know my customers. My customers get excited when I've grown herbs, especially for them, or edible pansies, or I know my cosmos are going on their cake that is a special color for a customer who asked for it last month, and I grew flowers for that color just for them. And this is happening in our group. I think there's about 100 accounts that we serve, mostly between Chicago and Peoria, now extending down to Nashville. And as a farmer, the way that we meet our customers is going on social media. I would love for the day where we get to actually pop into these restaurants and shake a chef's hand and say, I'm your farmer. And I do look forward to that in a time when we become profitable, when we get over the impact of starting up and being at a ramp up phase, just as a lot of the world is going uncertain. It's been a whole different ball of stress, but we're committed to get into the other side of it. And so the last thing I will leave you with as a farmer is faith. The practice of connecting with the land and being a steward of sacred dance between the soil and the earth and the very living soil microbiome and the vibration of the roots and the trees and the water, structured water that we use to water our plants. There is a dynamic of so much subtle energy. And in our case, we believe in God. We believe in the presence of an eternal energy that is the source of all. And we, as me and my husband, Timothy, who is, by the way, a fifth generation conventional row crop farmer, transitioning to regenerative farming on small scale. And the dance between us is incredible as well. So our faith and being guided and being able to navigate natural disasters, which we have had a few. In fact, we had hail strike our flower crop, our biggest flower crop got hit by 40-mile-an-hour winds this year for 6-7 days straight. Unsellable. And a few weeks later, our next crop got cut in half. There were alliums with beautiful, beautiful, uh, gorgeous 4-foot stems, and they just totally flopped over. They got struck. And so we are in a season with very little revenue in our major market, which is spring and early summer. And so Mother Nature always, always, always wins. Never, ever bet against Mother Nature. But you can create synchronicity and a symbiotic relationship of being on purpose for how we steward the land, and also understanding that whatever is before us is just a challenge to bring us closer to adapting and going with the flow and sticking with a vocation that is so fulfilling in regards to the reward of knowing that what we are doing here as farmers is essential. It is essential work. But it is also monumental, creating impact in our region that our region has not seen yet. And so if you're considering becoming a farmer, I hope you reach out to me or my husband. We have access to very many scenarios, all different sizes and shapes of farms, all different conditions, all different challenges between types of soil or environmental conditions or skill set ability. And we can tune you into the resources that exist, and you will be welcome. There is room for everyone in this group. I love when our mentor, Mr. Marty Travis of Spence Farms, says, I only work with nice people. And that is because there is no room for the naysaying or the negativity, because we have an excellent group that is forming together in a way that is just joyous and fulfilling. And so we will draw and continue to draw the people that resonate that vibration. And we hope that that's you. And if it is you, please reach out to me at Grateful Plains. Please look for our Live, Grow, Give programs with Om Sanctuary. A lot of you have heard that we intend to launch a food cooperative here, which will be an actual grocery store and a grange with resources for consumers and farmers and foodpreneurs. And get involved. Get involved wherever you are with your community. Thank a farmer, eat a couple extra meals of fresh food, and just share the excitement for what we have of leaning into a really happy and healthy future.